Today we're sharing two dramatic stories of cave exploration that turn toward disaster. Although both trips start out as daring missions into the Earth's deep hidden places, sudden dangers soon appear, pushing bravery and preparation to the limit. Viewer discretion advised. Story 1. Plummet Into Darkness. The Cave of Swallows, carved into the limestone highlands of San Luis Potosí, Mexico. The Cave of Swallows, also known as Sótano de las Golondrinas, has long captured the imagination of adventurers worldwide. Famous for its immense freefall pit, it plunges more than 1,000 feet from the surface into an expansive subterranean chamber. In October 2019, four enthusiastic cavers, Elena Rojas, Mateo Duran, Pilar Santos, and Lucas Ferrer, ventured into this legendary vertical abyss, determined to experience its towering beauty and rumored challenges. Although they brought new gear and had consulted various safety resources, they could not have fully prepared for what lay hidden within the cave's silent depths. They set out early in the morning, gearing up at the rim of the vast pit. Sunlight streamed into the gaping entrance as swallows and parakeets darted overhead, giving the cave its name. With palpable excitement, they clipped into ropes and began their descent, inching down hundreds of feet of sheer limestone wall. Despite feeling the subtle tug of gravity, each of them was awestruck by the sheer scale of the opening. Once on the cave floor, they found themselves enveloped by a cool, misty atmosphere. Subtle echoes bounced off massive formations that rose from the chamber's floor, and for a moment, they relished the otherworldly stillness. As they ventured further, the group moved with caution over uneven terrain, dotted with algae-slick rocks. The cave's immensity gave way to passages and ledges where only faint beams of light filtered down from the surface above. Elena, drawn to the calls of hidden birds, suggested exploring a narrower ledge, reputed to offer a spectacular view of nests clinging to the walls. Intrigued, the team followed, illuminating the path with their headlamps while navigating dripping stalactites and scattered debris. A sense of unease grew. The cavern's size and darkness hinted at countless unknown hazards. When they neared the ledge, Mateo slipped on a patch of moss-covered limestone. He lost his balance and tumbled into a narrow crevice, letting out a sharp cry. His back slammed into protruding rock, wedging him painfully in place. A jolt of panic spread through the group as they rushed to assess his injuries. He could barely move, and any attempt to help him only brought winces of pain. Recognizing the difficulty of their predicament, Pilar and Lucas climbed partway back up the pit, searching desperately for a radio signal strong enough to call for assistance. Meanwhile, Elena stayed with Mateo, comforting him amid the dimness and swirling dust. Back on the surface, rescue teams assembled the moment they received the distress call. Armed with specialized backboards, high-tensile ropes, and advanced pulleys, they rappelled into the chamber hours later. Their descent was fraught with the same slippery obstacles, and they had to tread carefully to avoid dislodging loose stones onto those below. Reaching Mateo was a delicate operation. The rescuers had to stabilize his spine, maneuver him onto a rigid stretcher, and then haul him across the ledge without aggravating his injuries. Step by painstaking step, they secured ropes around the stretcher to hoist him upward. Every tug on the rope was a test of skill, teamwork, and caution against the sheer drop surrounding them. Eventually, Mateo emerged into the pale daylight, where medics immediately assessed his condition. The scans that followed confirmed spinal injuries, requiring extensive treatment and rehabilitation. For the rest of the group, relief mingled with guilt and lingering unease. Their once-in-a-lifetime expedition had transformed into a life-threatening crisis in an instant. The Cave of Swallows, for all its imposing grandeur, underscored the truth they already knew but could not fully grasp. No matter how thoroughly you plan, a single miscalculation in the darkness below can have dire consequences. Now let's continue with the story number 2, Ghosts of the Past, Danger in Actun, Tunichil. Deep in the lush jungles of western Belize lies Actun Tunichil Muknal, a cave complex that has captured the attention of archaeologists and adventurers alike for decades. Far beyond the commonly visited tourist routes, this underground realm protects sacred spaces where Mayan pottery, ritual altars, and even skeletal remains remain preserved. In May 2021, two intrepid caving enthusiasts, Diana Coleman and Robert Singh, secured special access to explore these lesser-known corridors. Armed with a permit and high hopes, they set out to document fresh discoveries that seasoned researchers had only speculated about in hushed conversations. Their journey began in a humid clearing outside the cave's entrance, where a gently flowing river cut through dense foliage. Stepping into the mouth of Actun Tunichil Muknal, they were immersed in a twilight world lit solely by the glow of their headlamps. Wading through waist-deep water, they could see mineral-laden walls sparkling at the beam's edge. Each ripple in the underground stream seemed to lead them deeper into a place where ancient rituals once reshaped the rock. Diana, an avid student of Mayan culture, felt her heart soar whenever she spotted an artifact, an eroded pot, a faint glyph etched into a limestone wall, or what appeared to be the outline of a ceremonial platform. As they pressed on, the tunnels narrowed. The once wide passages branched into claustrophobic chambers, their floors coated with slick mud and jagged rock. Robert, carrying a handheld map cobbled together from old expedition notes, attempted to navigate the labyrinth, but the references often failed to match the reality around them. Each turn either revealed unexpected loops or led to flooded pockets that forced the pair to double back. Though they remained calm at first, the accumulating missteps began to fray their nerves. It was one thing to read about the cave's maze-like nature. Experiencing it firsthand brought a mounting sense of unease. Eventually, the strains of fatigue began to show. They realized they had lost any reliable sense of direction, and each corridor looked more foreboding than the last. A sobering truth sank in. Their supply of glow sticks, used to mark intersections, was dwindling. With the map proving unreliable, every dead end felt like a wasted hour. Diana's flashlight flickered intermittently, heightening her anxiety. In the stifling darkness, her imagination conjured images of the cave's ancient guardians, watching from the shadows. Meanwhile, Robert fought off rising panic, forcing himself to methodically test each passage for signs of a known landmark. As their nerves frayed further, they began to question whether anyone would even think to look for them in these lesser-explored galleries. Lucky for them, a local guide leading another small group in a nearby chamber caught the faint echo of their voices reverberating off the dripping walls. Driven by intimate knowledge of the cave's hidden corridors, he cautiously navigated the flooded chambers, until Diana and Robert's distressed calls became clearer. The beam of his flashlight pierced the darkness, revealing the two exhausted explorers huddled together, shivering and drained. The rescue itself was swift yet sobering. The guide reassured them and offered water, while carefully charting a path back through partially submerged passages. Where Diana and Robert had encountered confusion, the guide expertly recognized subtle rock formations and underwater contours, demonstrating just how crucial local expertise can be. Every step back to higher ground felt like a small triumph over the constricting darkness. By the time they emerged into the pale, humid light of the jungle, both explorers were trembling, not from the chill of the water, but from the shock of understanding how close their expedition had come to disaster. In the days that followed, Diana and Robert reflected on their ordeal, how a few poor decisions and an unreliable map had nearly trapped them in the cave's twisting passages, and how a single flickering headlamp had threatened to plunge them into complete darkness. Now, watch this video right here, because it's a perfect fit for you, and I'll see you on the other side.